Hi, it's Chris Titley here as part of the Sub 11 podcast series. I'm joined by Christy Forrest, the CEO of ASX-listed Livehire. Christy, thanks so much for coming into Brisbane and being part of this series.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Christy, can you give the listeners a bit of an understanding on what Livehire is and the early days and how it began?
Livehire is a B2B recruitment software technology, and we were founded in 2011. A couple guys who knew that the industry was broken and needed to be changed. Companies needed an alternative to the way that they were hiring all their staff, and Gigi Ghazi and Mike Haywood were the founders. I joined the company after a long history with a best practice research company that was writing about the future of talent acquisition. These guys were creating the future. I fell in love with the fact that they understood that there was a humanized element that could change the experience, and not only for candidates, create a talent community where people could express interest in a company. They could be sorted by their skills, capabilities, seen for their whole self and their ability to be matched into roles very quickly. But also then companies could have phenomenal transformative outcomes. And so we've been able to measure that, prove that many times over. I fell in love with the fact that the humanized element meant that the response time on our platform is just 17 minutes for candidates. And that just means that companies are reducing their time to hire by almost 50%. They're increasing diversity rates by almost 30%. They're increasing the quality of their candidates and the speed to hire. And everybody's happier in the end. So our platform has embedded two-way texting capability, which just means that it feels like you're really talking to a real person and you're not going into a black hole. And that's really the basic fundamentals. More than 200 clients currently in the Australian market, and about a dozen companies in North America who are leveraging our technology today.
And more recently, Christy, how important have the recent quarterly announcements been?
Yeah, the last couple quarterlies have been really important because we're in a better position than we've ever been financially with our business and the underlying fundamentals. We worked very hard to drive our cost base down last year and to really reset on the clients that we knew were the most profitable for us. We continue to deliver some of the strongest metrics in the SaaS part of our business around net revenue retention, so we continue to post those results and drive our burn down. We had a cash flow positive quarter 2 quarters ago, so working very hard to that moment in time and continuing to deliver really strong metrics, about 35% growth in the North American business, which is an important part of our business as well over the last 6 months.
And in regards to your industry, obviously during the COVID period, there was lots of dynamic shifts in the way people work and where they work. Can you talk about some of the big industry trends that you're seeing and how Livehire integrates into those industry trends?
Yeah, I think we all know a couple things personally and can feel personally that there's more willingness and interest to work in more of a multidimensional capacity. That might mean I'm happy to be a contractor today and a permanent employee tomorrow. I might be willing to do gig or side hustles. And for companies, that in the mirror image of that, that means that they need to be thinking about their total workforce as individuals who are not just permanent, but have all of these other dimensions or capabilities to come in and do the important work. And I think we all experienced the challenges of COVID and the economic cycles, and that just is proving to companies that they have to be more agile and they can meet the labor market with the changes that are happening there with a better strategy, technology platform. We are well known for our ability to deliver total talent, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, which is, are you looking at the labor market in its totality for contingent and for permanent hiring, and we have deep experience delivering that, and most other technology platforms are not bringing that capability to companies today.
And you touched on Australia there, but also the US market, the North American market. Can you talk about how important that is as a market complementary to your local operations?
Yeah, the North American market is really important to Livehire, and the business that we've built in Australia is extremely important, and the interplay between the two. So the technology we deploy in North America is exactly the same as the platform that we've built for Australia. And uniquely, that platform is very well designed for companies in North America, huge companies, Fortune 100 companies, who are transforming the way that they're hiring contingent or contractor labor. And in America, almost 50% of the labor market is contractor. So it's a much bigger proportion in North America than it is in Australia. And even so, what we've proven in Australia is that we are particularly well suited to a community concept that is being brought to North America in the contractor side of the hiring process, and they've never before leveraged their own employment brand to attract talent who might be interested to work for them in a contingent or contractor capacity. So we are at the pointy end of the stick on what is called direct sourcing. We have been endorsed by one of the largest services firms in the world, talent services firms in the world, Manpower Tapfin, who went through a 9-month rigorous process on the best technology to transform their client base, more than 200 clients, around this concept of direct sourcing. So as we start to move into these Fortune 100 companies and transform that part of their hiring outcome, they have a better connection with their candidates, which they've never had before. It really enforces their employment brand, and more than anything, they can save tens of millions of dollars by using our technology.
And Christy, you touched on partnerships there. Can you talk about the importance of partnerships generally? Obviously the Manpower Tapfin one, but also the SAP partnership.
Sure, yeah. So that particular partnership, the Manpower Tapfin partnership, is one where the rigor that they put into their evaluation process is deeper than what we've seen from most. And that's important to us because they have mobilized their whole organization around the concept of direct sourcing and the preeminence of Livehire in that strategy for them. A lot of other partners have many other partners that and other technologies that they are willing to consider for their clients. And SAP is one where we are uniquely also leveraging the ability to, as I've mentioned in other conversations here, our total talent capability. That's just to say that we will integrate on the permanent side of their hiring process, we will integrate on the contingent side of their hiring process, and uniquely we become the candidate layer over both, which is a very unique proposition that SAP is mobilizing around internally themselves. So those are both very, very strong, important partnerships for us, both in the markets that we're in and as we expand globally.
And we're sitting here in the middle of 2024, and over the last 18 months or so, we've had non-stop chat about AI and the effects on various industries. Can you talk about AI as a threat or opportunity to Livehire as an organisation, but also some of the macro trends that you're seeing within your industry?
Yeah, great question. I think it's an opportunity. Absolutely, we see that. So the way that we're designed is we are a deep end-to-end workflow platform, and so where we see AI helping is really enabling the workflows that we've already developed for the recruiters, for the candidates. And so we use third parties where it's appropriate, particularly large language models need to really ingest a lot of information from the internet. You shouldn't be working with companies who are trying to create their own language models if they don't have enough data to put into that. So we have some really strong partnerships. We use Anthropic Claude, which is a really great and well-proven, highly visible, highly transparent, highly ethical AI, and we use that in some of the job descriptions that can be created, for example, at the touch of a button. And that's really saving recruiters time. We really care about that. We only will bring AI in where it enables the recruiters and the candidates a better experience. So we use it in the matching for candidates, particularly initially in the parsing of their CV and their skill base, and then we use our own algorithm, which again keeps the bias out. So our big theory on all this and approach philosophy is ethical AI, which means that sometimes we're using third parties, sometimes we might be incorporating it in various parts of our platform thoughtfully with respect to maybe generating interview questions for hiring managers, for example. Many different applications that are on our roadmap that we will test first for whether it isn't introducing any bias and whether it's actually making an impact on the productivity of the recruiters and the candidates.
And Christy, on a personal level, there are challenges that come with being a listed company's CEO, but I'm keen to know why you're excited to be CEO of Livehire.
What gets me excited is that I think that technology is finally having its day with respect to how we all, as humans, understand the power for us personally and for more humanized technologies to keep pace with all the changes in the global labor market and the changes that companies want to make. So I think we've been speaking for some time about how being more humanized, technology can actually enable that. It doesn't need to be the other way around where it feels like it creates separation. I think because we all know what it feels like to book an Uber and how that's different to hailing a taxi, and they know where you are and you know where you are in the process, for example, you can liken that to the technology that we've built and the fluidity, the agility that companies and individuals want to have, and the multiple experiences that candidates want to have over their career, and the command and agency that they want to have over that. I think the time is now, and companies are always struggling to move through change. Honestly, they're not as adept as they'd like to be, but we're here and we're ready, and we're seeing them lean into that.
Christy, how important was it to survive during that tough time coming out the back end of COVID, where there was a number of companies going bust, unfortunately, but for you to survive and to continue to thrive?
Yeah, it was incredibly important, and we were all working so hard in that period, and I think that we feel really proud that we've been able to come to the other side. I read an article that 3,200 companies in Silicon Valley went out of business, and I'm sure it's actually more than that, and it's continued to be a challenge with the economic environment, but we're posting growth. We've driven straight down to our landing point with respect to our cost base. And I think more importantly for me, the staff that I have in the business today, they are so deeply committed. They're working so hard, and we continue to bring phenomenal service to our clients and very high ratings on G2 Capterra, which is where companies get rated. So I'd encourage anybody to go take a look, and just the strength of our platform, our fundamentals, the commitment of our staff, and our ability to make it to the other side is what's going to make us thrive.
And Christy, thank you so much for coming in today to have a chat about Livehire, the history of the business, obviously managing the tough times during COVID, and also the opportunities ahead for you. Looking forward to catching up, and thanks again for coming in.
Thanks, Chris. It was great to be here.